Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to start off by apologizing to you guys. It has been about 10 days since I posted my last video. If you remember in that video, I said we did have a hurricane coming. Never in my wildest dreams and a lot of other people's did we imagine it would be this bad. Thankfully, where I live, it's a little bit east of the Big Bend area. We didn't get it as bad, but the unfortunate thing with that is somebody's got to get it. And the Big Bend area and even Tampa and St. Petersburg, where I have family that has lived there since the 70s, they got flooding so bad there. You know, some houses had 6 to 8 feet of water in them, and the storm didn't even hit that area. It was 150 miles off the coast, and that just shows you how massive this thing is. And of course, North Carolina, Tennessee, some parts up there, just absolutely disastrous in a lot of ways. It was worse than it was in Florida because of the flash flooding, rivers and dams breaking. There possibly could be thousands of people missing and, you know, likely presumed dead there. And just a little story, my aunt's sister, my cousin, she barely got out, and she had 3 neighbors that didn't make it. And not 3 people, I'm talking about 3 families that were a little bit further behind her, closer to the river, that they didn't make it. And I always try to, you know, keep these reviews positive and try to keep focused on fragrance, but if you are a religious person, those people really do need your prayers right now. On a lighter note, I do want to apologize. I guess my son got my phone when I was in the shower and decided to post a couple shorts videos, so I deleted those because obviously my channel is set to 18 years old plus, and on YouTube you have to make sure you click a button saying, you know, that kids don't appear in your videos and stuff like that. So I just deleted the shorts. I don't even know what they were. He was just vlogging or something that he said, but do apologize for that. But yeah, on a more serious note, guys, there's a lot of people going through some very difficult things. We got it bad where I lived, but not nearly as bad as some other people, so we were very fortunate. But that just shows how massive this storm really was when it affected people that were not really even directly in the path. And you look at how far up, you know, the eastern coast that North Carolina and Tennessee are. You know, in Florida, we're prepared. The Big Bend area, coastal areas, we've all done this before. A lot of locals, you know, especially in Florida, we just buy a lot of liquor and charcoal and meat and grill if the power goes out and drink, and a lot of times it's fun. And this is one of those things that is just going to be life-altering for so many people and communities. So again, if you are a religious person, those people could really use your prayers right now. We'll go ahead and start off this fragrance journey here. And I'll leave, as always, the dates and the days that I wore these fragrances in the description. I'm going to try to get another video done later tonight if possible, just to play catch up on these, and then maybe do another couple tomorrow just so we can kind of get caught up. I think I have 4 that I need to post. So this one, I believe this is Labor Day weekend, but again, I'll leave everything in the description. But Alkout, one of my favorite ones, very spicy, floral, but it's also got some sweetness in there and some oud. Of course, it's got maltol in there, which gives it a little bit of that burnt caramel vibe. Lighter use of it, though. Thankfully, it's not nearly as heavy in, you know, some other fragrances is like Baccarat Rouge. Greenwich Village is another one that I feel like that maltol, burnt caramel note is just very heavy. So, man, Alkout is definitely becoming one of my favorite fragrances, especially on the dry down. And then the rest of this week, you'll probably notice a little bit of a theme. More blue-themed fragrances, some certainly more blue than others. But man, Dubai Indigo, I wore it on Tuesday. One of my favorite blue fragrances, very exotic. It's got fruit notes in there, you know, peach and lychee fruit in there. Oak moss, white musk in the base. Just an absolutely beautiful fragrance in my opinion. A little bit of floral notes in there as well, but this one definitely smells like a blue fragrance, but it's more exotic, and it's not really a run-of-the-mill blue fragrance. It's always got the pineapple, the apple, all those sorts of things, which there's nothing wrong with that, but this is definitely a more exotic twist on a blue fragrance. So again, 40 knots. Some people may or may not consider this a blue fragrance. I definitely do. To me, it definitely has a lot of white florals in there. Certainly, you know, ambergris, or maybe ambergris accord, but it does have that salty type of ambergris note to it. One of my favorites in fragrances. I really do like ambergris. Slightly powdery, slightly metallic. I don't know. 40 knots for me, even though I realize it's popular and some people don't like it for that reason. I've tried a lot of blue ones from Xerjoff, and for me, 40 knots, for whatever reason, just on my skin and for my sense of smell, I've always loved 40 knots. It's definitely one of my favorite types of fragrance for that category. And get a lot of compliments on it too. It's very, very strong though. Some people, they say it's too strong. For me, don't really care about that. I'll just spray less. That's good value for me. And a lot of these are actually really strong. And speaking of extremely strong, Akdeniz, so 40 knots was Wednesday. Akdeniz from Unique and Luxury is Thursday. I always seem to get compliments on this one, guys. It's just leathery, juicy, has a little thyme in there. Goodness gracious, man. Eternally long lasting. Other than Aqua Sapphire here, I would say this is probably one of the longest lasting fragrances, not just for the blue fragrances in my collection, but certainly in my entire collection. I always say Akdeniz, it doesn't really ever leave you, it just kind of becomes a part of you. And man, really strong fragrance, great development on it. I personally love it. I know a lot of other people that do. It's just one of those fragrances, you're either going to love it or you just might not. But for me, the strength, the longevity, the development, how it reacts on my skin, it's just all there. So Akdeniz on Thursday, beautiful fragrance. Aqua Sapphire from Boadicea the Victorious on Friday. Again, that rum, pineapple, seaweed, Divana. I think it's got some cypriol in there in the base notes as well. It's just a very green, marine, but also very fresh and blue fragrance. Extremely long lasting and developmental for me. For me, I mean, it's hard to say because they're so close, but man, Akdeniz and Aqua Sapphire, easily 24 to 36 hours for me. They may not be projecting super strong, but it's something that you can smell on your skin almost the next day, even after you've showered. And if you spray a little clothing with these, you got to be careful because, this high of oil concentration on these two will definitely stain some clothing. So be careful if you spray it on clothing. But I have sprayed a shirt before, and that shirt pretty much smelled like Akdeniz for over a month. So just really, really good longevity for these two. Definitely some of my favorite for the category, even though blue fragrances in some ways are kind of hard to make unique. And these two, while still maintaining that fresh blue fragrance kind of category and being a little bit more recognizable, at least to me, they're still unique, so I really enjoy them. Now, speaking of unique, King Blue from Amouage. I guess you can't really call it a blue fragrance, even though the mandarin and the black currant, a little bit of pink pepper that jumps off your skin. You do get that blue kind of fruity vibe, but man, you just get a lot of really, really deep, rich oud. Slightly funky, like silver oud, but not as much to me. But it's a very similar base to that. Man, people might hate King Blue. I know it's pretty much for a lot of people, they either love it or hate it. I am personally on the love side of that. I get a lot of compliments on it as well. And I do silver oud as well, so I think it's the type of kind of like base notes and oud that they're using in there that's just such an attractive thing, at least to me. But King Blue is another one, great development, great longevity. It's one of those fragrances to where it smells better, at least to me, on skin after it's dried down for about an hour or two than it does right out of the bottle or when you first spray it. So maybe just give it a little bit of chance on your skin, and then if it's not for you, it's just not for you. You can save it for me and the other people that really enjoy it. But last but not least, so this was Saturday and Sunday, Roja Parfum's Oceania. And to me, this is definitely one of the better citrus fragrances, and it is a blue vibe, but it just has a lot of really nice, bright, almost fizzy, like citrus notes. One of the few fragrances that has that many citrus notes that has like a bright kind of sparkling vibe to it. Pretty good longevity for this type of fragrance, being this citrus forward and being light and fresh and still being an eau de parfum concentration. So it's probably around 20-25%, I would say. But yeah, again, for this type of fragrance, it's got good longevity. I get about maybe 6 to 8 hours of projection. Again, I don't try to get too specific with those sorts of things because it depends on how much you spray, where you spray it, etc., etc. Is your skin hydrated? What environment do you live in? Dry environments are probably going to soak that up quicker than a humid environment where I live. But Roja Parfum's Oceania, definitely one of my favorite fresh summer blue fragrances. It's easy to grab and go, fits a lot of different scenarios, and I get a lot of compliments on that one as well, but it just doesn't seem to project that much after like 4 to 6 hours. So this is something that sometimes I'll just find myself reapplying during the middle of the day if I end up going home or something like that from work. And yeah, I mean, as far as citrus fragrances go, what they put in here, very, very quality, just great stuff by the house of Roja Parfums again. And this is definitely one of my favorite go-to like fresh blue fragrances. It's obviously a little bit different, you know, than something like King Blue would be, and even by Indigo, Akdeniz, and Aqua Sapphire. It's a little bit more fresh, a little bit lighter than those. So definitely a theme to the week after Alkout. Definitely more of a blue fragrance week. I just figured I'd stick with the theme. Kind of getting toward the end of summertime now, so I wanted to use these before they get put on the shelf until next year. So great seeing you guys again. You know, thoughts and prayers with the people that are being affected by this storm. I don't think I've ever known a storm to affect this many people this badly in this many states. You know, you look at, again, how far north that Tennessee and some of those areas of North Carolina and even above that have been affected, and how bad it hit us here in the Big Bend area. I mean, you have Horseshoe Beach, Steinhatchee, Cedar Key, Keaton Beach, and many other areas that, you know, they almost got 25 foot of storm surge. And even some of the stilt houses that are built up 15 feet above the sea level, they were still completely wiped out. It didn't make a difference. That's just what happens when you have that much water coming in and out with 140 mile an hour winds. So again, guys, thank you for having patience. It's been pretty rough the last 10 days here in Florida. A lot more important things to do than fragrance videos, even though I do enjoy doing this. So hope you're all safe if you're watching, wherever you're at. Hopefully nobody had, you know, directly impacted by this storm and lost family members, God forbid. Again, in my area, we were somewhat luckier than other areas, and that's just how it works out with hurricanes. You know, sometimes you get it really bad, sometimes it goes 100 so miles, you know, one direction or the other, and you get a little bit lucky. But no matter what, you live here in Florida long enough, you're going to experience one of those storms, and you just have to be as prepared for it as you can. So great seeing you guys again. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, I'll be trying to get these out more and more, but it has been a pretty difficult last week or two here in the state of Florida. So appreciate you guys watching. I'll be seeing you soon, all right? Bye.